Hello, my name is Matt Hissem, and I own this DeLorean time machine. I've had this car since 2013, and from 2014, for the first 7 months, I had to do a frame-off restoration, and then I decided to do the time machine conversion. And of course, ever since you're a kid and you've seen this movie and you wanted this car, this is kind of how you wanted to live out your dream, is to live it into a time machine. So that's what I've always had in mind my whole life, but until I got the car, I wasn't so sure if that was still a desirable thing. And when I had to do a frame off restoration when I first got the car, and that took 7 months, and then from the fall through the following winter, from 2014 to 2015, was when I did this time machine conversion. And of course, now this is an exciting time to in the car's history, to learn about the history and the heritage of the car and the company and John DeLorean. So I did not want to harm that, the value of the history of the car. I wanted to still present that and to preserve that, so I didn't want to damage the car in the process of having this time machine, which is just an image, but the car's heritage is more important. So that's the route I went in doing it. And so we'll just take a little quick look around the functions of my car. Of course, this everything I've made here is not movie accurate. It is a close representation of what the movie had. I have a coworker that worked on the restoration of the movie car, and he has a DeLorean also. So he shared with me just how they went about it. Some of the specs and scale parts of fabricating all those parts. Of course, I could have gone and done everything right, spent a fortune, but for what this is worth to me, it does the same thing. So this flux capacitor is a electrical fuse box, and the lights strobing inside are LED Christmas lights. So they do just as good, but I understand it's not movie accurate, just as almost everything on this car, including the time circuit control switch. It does work, does turn on the flux capacitor. It's not all movie accurate, but it was very fun making this switch. It does have the same principle of bus bars inside and this Y handle, but this is what I just started out with. It was a lot cheaper. Since I'm a welder by trade, I thought, well, I'm going to have a lot of fun making all these parts. So the time displays work. There is a Arduino computer board that interfaces with the keypad, but my uncle is the one that made that for me. I made the housing for it, but the internal circuitry, he did that. Same for the speedometer, digital speedometer, but he also made it into a most other functions. So this tells me the voltage coming from the battery, and there's a separate carb that runs everything that's time machine related. And he also put in a thermometer. So right now it's 55 degrees inside and about 10 volts. So I probably need to charge it. I have to charge it, occasionally. And then it will go back to my static 88 miles an hour display. So, and then right next to it, this is some, of course, the black boxes that were on the dash, but I thought I had more fun making those. There is a type of, looks like a black box recorder, so I thought I'll have fun doing that. And there are other external switches. This switch here, labeled flux band, will turn on the flux bands on the outside. And so, there you can see. Same along the front. And fans, which turn on the fans to the exhaust tower fans that I have installed. And other switches. These switches here turn on other exterior switches in the back. And this little nifty light for night viewing. And then I have this light that's hooked up to the stock light. Does a much brighter job of lighting the interior, and I still have the window switches. Let's see what else here. probably should turn all this off. The well, the back here, the back wall, I have a set of speakers that are hooked up to an amp that I run my iPod off of. So it's an external sound source. So I have not messed with the stock speaker system yet. And a lot more hardware on the back wall than what the movie had. And I've had saved a whole bunch of stuff just for making this time machine. So I have plenty of interior decorating to plan out. So if we look back here, there is a lot of capacitors and external crazy hardware that's very complicated that I had a lot of fun putting together. So we can also look at the flux band lights. The Mr. Fusion is built to scale out of aluminum flashing, and I had to make an aluminum base. The black part section is to scale, but it's also made from a upside down trash can. I cut out the middle and down to the right height and put channels along the edges, and then voila, I got a Mr. Fusion base. So that's neat. And so the exhaust towers are made to scale. They do have screen mesh here just to keep birds and bugs and who knows what going into it, but it does pull air from out the engine deck area. And then the side here is, you know, normally your green tubes are not, well, these aren't green, but since I had to make them, I thought I'd have a lot more fun making them more complicated than they really were, with a whole bunch of CO2 cartridges inside. This was a neat feature that I had laying around. It was the chime from a chime clock. I thought was appropriate. These capacitors are the same as the other side. These are not real. They are PVC pipe with caps and mounted to an aluminum base plate that holds everything together. So nothing's drilled into the pontoons. And the flux band brackets are mounted to the plates, and there's a plate that covers the back wall. That the window is still intact, and all that works together to hold the flux bands together. And the flux boxes are hollow aluminum. They are, you know, obviously not the right color. That was my mistake. So someday I'll come back to that. Wormhole emitter is pretty close to scale. I know it's not totally movie accurate, but I added this little device for a GoPro camera mount. And the flux band wires along the side are not real cables. They conform to the shape of the body, kind of spring tightly towards it, because there is a copper tubing inside here that's flexible that you can bend by hand with. So this is really a nylon vinyl hose that covers the copper, and so it looks quite realistic without drilling any holes to the body. And so the flux bands boxes are mounted to the marker light that would be normally back there. So we take these screws out, screws go straight in, but I can also get inside the box here. I thought I'd put, extend the marker light bulb to this light bulb marker light, so it looks a little bit more legal. And the flux bands along the bumper are just clipped on, or not really clipped, they're sprung tight towards the body, towards the bumper itself. So there's no holes drilled into that. It's just wrapped really tight, and there's a rubber pad between the aluminum and the bumper, so there's no scratch marks. And so I can talk about a little bit, what it was like driving this car for the last 5 years as a time machine. It was like driving a celebrity all the time. And around here, people are now used to it. It's my daily driver, except in the winter of snow. So that's when I do all my major work on the upgrades, of mostly keeping the DeLorean driving reliably. But I've been in the news several times and been in local paper several times, so my town is very used to me, and so it's not quite as big a deal as it was at first. It was like it would take like twice as long to go anywhere, and I would drive it everywhere, just to the stores, and it would take an hour to leave because everybody was just swarming me, and I could talk quite a while about that, but it's been very rewarding to be the person that gets to share this kind of privilege. And I guess the downsides is you have to be very patient with people, and you have to be in a good mood, and you want to represent this car properly, and not be the rude or impatient person that they'll remember forever. Even though you may not remember everybody that sees the car, so you have to always be polite, and because this could be the one moment in their whole life that they get to see a DeLorean time machine, and in this part of the country, it's pretty rare that this gets out, that any time machine gets out daily. So, so that's very sobering. One privilege I did have back in 2016 was I was invited to Milwaukee at the Riverside Theater, where Christopher Lloyd was making an appearance after playing the movie, and they wanted me to bring my car there. So it was in the middle of February. It's like, really? Normally there was snow and salt, but that particular Saturday it warmed up into the 40s, and the roads were dry. So I thought, oh great, I can actually do that. I said, I'll do that if you can have him come out and sign and see the car. And so they said, oh, we'll have my people talk to his people, and so that worked out. And so he did come out and pose with the car, and he did sign my passenger sun visor. So that was quite a rewarding privilege. So if I had not built this into a time machine, this probably would never have happened. So anyways, that was a quick overview of my car, and thank you for your time.